In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a student profile page. You'll notice that I'm in a different test environment, and that's because we want to make sure that we're following FERPA compliance. So I'm using a system that was developed with all fake students through the system that runs SSC, which is the EAB group. So if you are on your homepage, if you have upcoming appointments, or if you go to the upcoming appointments tab, one easy way to navigate to a student is going to be that their name will show up as a blue clickable link. What we recommend is that you right click on that name and open it in a new tab, because that's going to make it easier to start an appointment with that student if you're working in a space where you have a front desk member checking a student in. If it's just you in your office, or you don't utilize front desk check-in, or you don't have scheduled appointments ahead of time in the way that some offices do on campus, the easiest way is going to be searching using the quick search up at the top. We recommend, as I said in a previous video, using the student's 95 number. In this system, since it's not a U of O system, these folks don't have 95 numbers. So I'm going to type a name of a test fake student within the system. So we're going to look at Kat Steinkamp. When you navigate to a student's page, you're going to see what's called kind of a 30-second gut check, a summary of where that student is at. It looks like this student has no D's or F's yet, no repeated courses, no withdrawals, has one missed success marker, which is going to be based on what major the student is in and whether that major lists success markers or not. So right now the student doesn't have a GPA, so they're not meeting that success marker. Likely, this student, as it says, is a first-year student. They haven't taken any credits yet, so it's understandable that they don't yet have a GPA. They have 20 earned credits, and if you look, you can see that all 20 of those, if you hover over that number, you can see that all 20 of those are external credits, which means transfer credits. And then credits completed at this institution will tell you of their attempted credits at U of O, how many they have completed. And then this piece, which on our site shows instead of support as contact level, this will show you some information using a bunch of back-end statistics and data from the system, what level of contact or support we might expect that student to need with regards to their chance of graduating within 4 years. You can also see the major. If there's a history of majors, there'd be a list down here. You can see the student ID, which in our system would be the 95 number, what year they are in school in terms of class standing, the most recent term of enrollment. You can see assigned advisors within the system. So this is whoever Banner has on. And as you can see, a student could have more than one assigned advisor. And then sometimes they will have categories or tags with information about them being an international student, or the year in which they first started classes, or if they're part of certain programs. Another thing you would see if the student is on academic warning, probation, or disqualification is information about their academic standing. You won't see that if the student is in good standing. Over on this side of the page, there's a lot of clickable links that you can do things with. You can send an email to the student, add a note on a student, which is not something you'll commonly do unless you're trying to keep a private reminder. You can add a reminder on a student, which is something you can do if you want to make sure you follow up with them in a little while. You can add a report on advising, which is going to be the most common link that you'll be using. This report on tutoring likely won't show on your page. You can schedule an appointment, add a student to a watch list, and in some cases, you may or may not have permission to issue an alert. If a student is part of any active SSC campaigns, you'll see those listed here, and you can get a little information on them. You can see links and student information as well. So that's the overview page of a student. If you go to their success progress page, you're going to see information about where that contact score, or in this system, support score, comes from. So you can see the negative influencers, neutral influencers, and positive influencers. You can also see success markers, GPA trends by term, credit trends by term, and down here in a chart breakout view. Obviously, with a student that has taken classes, there's going to be a lot more information to digest from this particular page. On our site, this history tab is called Reports/Notes, and it looks a little bit different, but on this page you can see if you add any reminders, those will show up. And then instead of seeing this history box right here, what you would see is notes on the student, and then down below it, reports or alerts on the student. And you're able to read those and view those if you have access to the specific information. You can see class information, so you can see what classes the student is registered for and or what grades they've earned if the classes are completed. You can see transfer work. These TRs mean that it's all transfer work here. And then this RW likely means that they're registered for the class. Our system letters will follow U of O system information for that. And then this piece, these couple pieces, major Explorer and Path may not be something you'll see. There will be a More tab where you can view the student's calendar. It will include the student's course schedule, whatever it is currently in Banner. Study hall isn't something that most advisors will be using at some point. Some offices like athletics may do so. You can view upcoming appointments and then any conversations within the system that the student has had, so campaign emails or messaging. The most useful page and kind of the starting points is going to be that overview page, and then this on our site again, Reports/Notes. What we want you to do when you're looking at a student's page is really use that to get a gut sense or feeling of where the student is at academically. And in addition to whatever they might have indicated they want to talk to you about today, or in the comments from your front desk staff or from the student or yourself about the appointment reason, what are some things you may need to talk to them about? So if the student comes in saying that they want to talk about fall schedule planning, but you notice that it's listed that they're on probation, you want to make sure that you cover and know that they understand their academic standing as well. You can also review in that Reports and Notes tab, or here called History tab. You can review and see if other advisors have talked about those things with them and make sure that you are following along with that same information. It's really useful for us to be able to kind of help better support a student in a well-rounded way with our decentralized advising model and systems. When we use this system and we review the notes and reports that other advisors and staff members have input, it allows us to better continue conversations. A student doesn't necessarily have to repeat the conversation or story over and over again. You'll have some starting information, unless, like this student, they're brand new and you're going to be starting that story with them in the system. So if you want to add a reminder on a student, the easiest way to do that is to just click here. These reminders don't integrate into any system outside of the online system. So they won't go to Outlook or iCal or Google Calendar, but they will show up on your home page if you set them. Often what I recommend you use this for is a student that you agree to follow up with. If you know you're going to be using the system, which we do daily in my office, this can be a good way to kind of check in. So I do often 2-week check-ins with students. Sometimes I agree to do those via email, sometimes via phone, sometimes it's me requesting an appointment with the student, and then I'll just put out 2 weeks from today and save that reminder. That then saves within the student's information. I can later clear that reminder or edit that reminder. It will also show up on my home page as well as a reminder that I have. You'll also be doing reports on advising. I'm going to show you those in our live site because the form of them looks a little bit different than here. But if you have met with a student and you're not using student self-scheduling, student check-in, or front desk scheduling, the easiest way to create a report on advising is going to be clicking the tab from the student's page in this instance. And scheduling an appointment with a student, if you're doing that for yourself, is going to be easiest from here. And we'll talk about that briefly in another video. So that's what I want you to know about taking a look at a student. What I'd like you to do now in the UO test site is take some time to look up a student that you've worked with previously and take a look at their information. I want you to know that the test site does not refresh daily in the way that our live site does. So if you see some information that might not seem accurate, know that it's likely because that test site is not being updated very regularly, whereas our live site is updated every single day with information from Banner. So go ahead and take some time to view student information and click around, and then continue on to the next set of videos.